Hello, welcome to Journey of Crafting. Today I'm going to show you how to make a tiered Lazy Susan. This is super easy and fun to make. So what you're going to need is some contact paper, a candlestick or similar, two of these, and I am going to use one big one. It's a glass vase and one candlestick. You're going to need decorative cups or plates. The sturdier, the better. I have a hard plastic for both. Some sort of template that you can use for your Lazy Susan. I have a styrofoam bowl, and you'll need two round You'll need two round cake pans. I got all of this stuff, everything from the dollar store, from the Dollar Tree. You will also need some spare marbles, again, also from the Dollar Tree. So let's get started. Actually, you will also need very sturdy plates. I would suggest not using glass because they are very heavy, but I guess you could try anything. I am using a very thick plastic plate. These are in the party section at the Dollar Tree. Now let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to do is move some stuff out of the way. The first thing that you're going to do is take your contact paper and cut it to size. Every contact paper at the Dollar Tree has a nice grid on the back, so it makes cutting down pretty easy. And all I did was I lined it up to the side, I pushed it, there is an indentation on this plate. So instead of taking it to this line here, I took it to this line here. And all I did was I put this contact paper to that side and then took it over to the other side and I cut. And the same thing with this way. I cut this way and this way. Now you're going to need a marker. I should have put that in the beginning, but I did not. You'll also need scissors and hot glue or some other sturdy glue. So all I did was I took this marker and that first indentation that I showed you right here, that's what you're going to follow. So you're going to take this piece of paper, the contact paper. You could probably use anything else. I've used contact paper because it's flexible and it has a sticky back. And you're just going to draw along that indentation. Then you're going to go and you're going to cut this circle out. And that is really about it. Now I chose this particular contact paper because I want to incorporate black and white into the redesign of my craft room. And I'm trying to get as many videos up as possible about the redesign of my craft room. But because I'm redesigning my craft room, it makes it a little difficult. I've gotten a couple DIYs playing with me and some hauls up, but yeah. So I'm going to cut that out. And you can keep the scraps or you can toss the scraps, whichever you'd like to do if you think you can use the scraps. Now you're going to slowly peel this back. And you want to go slowly because if you go too fast, you will create a crease in your contact paper that you're not going to be able to get out. So now you're just going to line it up with that first indentation that I showed you guys. And then you're going to very slowly move your finger back and forth to lay this contact paper down. And the reason that you go slow and you just move back and forth across the entire surface is to prevent air bubbles, that's all. And lay it down. And that's that. You have a very decorative plate. Now you're not going to see the price tag on the back because it will be glued down like so. So however many plates you have, do that to all of the plates. I have 3 that I'm going to be using. So I went ahead and did the other 2. Now I've got these done. The next thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and take your template with one of your pans. And all you're going to do is you're going to cut there's little grooves right here. You see these little grooves? All we're going to do is we're going to cut a line straight across and we're going to create a very small circle. And the reason that we do that is because we're going to adhere it down to the bottom. If we leave it just like this pan's not going to touch the bottom, and it's not going to be able to sit on those marbles. So we're going to cut this, and we're going to cut this all the way out, and that little bowl that is created after you cut this template, this is really loud. This little bowl you can keep or you can toss. I normally keep them because my youngest daughter likes to paint, and we can throw them outside with her painting supplies and call it a day. So instead of leaving it like this, I like to flip it over like this. So it gives a nice little raised template, and then your marbles will sit inside perfectly. So I like to put just a dab of glue down first. And what that does is it holds it in place because you cut across it. So basically you cut it apart. Once that's cooled, just slightly, it doesn't need to be 100% cold, but it does need to be cooled enough that it's not going to move. Once that's cooled, you can go ahead and finish lining the entire circle. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So all you do is you put a nice glob of glue, and the styrofoam will melt, so I like to put a little bit of extra glue because it's not going to melt that much, and it will adhere after the styrofoam's melted. So once that's done, you put a nice amount of glue, however you think it's enough to make you feel that it's secure. This is not going to be holding the surface of, there's strings everywhere. This is not going to be holding the surface of your tower, so this little piece of styrofoam is more functionality than it is stability. So we're just going to let that cool. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to decorate one of these vases. I already had one decorated, but all you do is you take any kind of stones that you like, marbles, they have clear pebbles at the Dollar Tree that would look really nice. You can do paper embellishments. They have rose petals at the Dollar Tree. Those would be really cute. You could put red or pink or white in here. Those would all look really cute. What I did is I did the black pebbles that I just showed you along with some white pebbles that I also got at the Dollar Tree. And you can see those in a haul video that I recently did. And this is what it looks like after it's done. And you just, all I did was I filled it up with the black pebbles first, and then I shook in the white pebbles. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to glue this to the top of one of my plates. So you look about centered, okay? And then you take your hot glue gun and you put a huge glob. And the reason that you put a huge glob is because the bottom of this particular vase is flat. You don't want to do a huge glob if your vase is not flat. So this one, we will be using this one later. This one is not flat, so a huge glob would just get cold and not have any purpose whatsoever. You don't want to do that with this one. So we're going to let that sit for a little bit, and it looks like it's actually cooled off. Now what we're going to do is, because I wanted this particular layer to be very tall until the next layer, and the reason is because I want to put in these cute little paper, plastic, not paper, cups. And so I'm going to do 5 of them, and I'm just going to rearrange them how I like them. And I have my marbles in the 5th one, so I'm just going to transfer that into another container real quick. Very loudly, might I add. Now, you make sure all the tags are off of your cups, because apparently I didn't do that. And then all you have to do is you glue them. That's loud too. It's a very loud video, guys. Sorry. Okay. Then all you do is you take part of this. I'm going to attempt to show you this, but I'm on my tripod instead of my overhead camera, so it's going to be a little difficult. So then you take this cup, and wherever it is that you want to put it, if you want to put it on the edge or if you want to put it towards the middle, on the edge, but towards the middle. Wherever it is that you're trying to line it up, that's where you want to put the glue. So I'm actually going to put mine like a little half and half. So it's going to be half in the middle, or half off the edge and half towards the middle. So I just put a nice big glob of glue and I set it down. But I realized that that's not going to be enough glue because this plate is ridged. So I put just a little bit more and then move to the next one. Now, like I said, you guys do want to set this up to where you want everything. That way gluing is a lot easier. You just literally pick up the cups and put your glue down, and that's it. And I'm going to need another glue stick because I ran out of glue. Pick that up, put a little bit more glue there, and lay that down. And I'm just going to continue around until I have all of my cups on my plate how I want them. And like I said, because this is ridged, you do want a nice big glob of glue so it can get into the ridges. Once you glue this down though, you do want to just leave it alone. Don't mess with it, don't touch it, don't rearrange it. If you did mess up the placement, obviously you can rearrange that, but don't mess with it too much because it is plastic and it's not a super thick plastic. So it does melt a little bit. You could also, if you really wanted to, you could alternate the smaller bowls for the bigger cups. Like I've already done all but one of them, but you could put the smaller bowls on the side as well. And you could just alternate them. And that would have been cute too, but I decided to do all of the big cups. This is probably where I'm going to be storing my go-to tools like scissors, ruler, pencils, my marker that I always have handy so I can, you know, mark things. I just use a permanent marker for that. And that's it. Your first layer is completely done. The only thing that your first layer needs is a lid and a pan to go underneath it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for half a second and I'm going to decide where I want to put this next lid and how I want it to be. And what I mean by that is, do I want it to be just an empty plate, or do I want it to have some sort of depth to it? Now, I just noticed that my rocks were a little too bulky, so I had to take one out. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to glue the top of this to the bottom of this plate. And again, you just use hot glue with that. Another thing that you can do is you can take this plate, you can take your handy dandy marker here, and you can go underneath and mark around your plate or your vase on the bottom. And then you can put the glue straight on the plate, flip it over, and put it on your vase. So, see, I did that mark, and I can go through and put a nice big glob of glue all the way around that mark. Always run out of glue at the most inopportune times. And then you just simply line that glue up with your circle and push. And if you wanted to, you could go back and you could reinforce it by putting some extra glue on underneath the rim under here. I don't think I'm going to. I lined that up pretty nicely, so it's going to be nice and set. And you do the same thing that on the second tier that you did on the bottom tier. You can leave it plain, or you can put cups on there, or you can put bowls on there. It really is limitless of what you can do. I'm going to go ahead and put this second tier candlestick on there, and I will wait to show you the last piece for the finishing touch because my camera is just not tall enough to see the top piece when I put it on, but I promise you it's the same concept. You figure out what you want to put on that second tier, you lay it down, and then you put that third plate on. Okay, now with these particular candlesticks, I do like to go back with extra glue right around the edges and make sure that the glue does stick quite nicely to the candlestick and the plate. And all you're doing is you're going underneath and you're pushing that glue with your glue gun up underneath the candlestick. And you're just going to make sure that it's nice and secure. And guys, do not put heavy objects on the second or third level. It will tumble no matter how you have this set up. I made the goofball mistake of putting marbles in one of mine, and I had to reassemble it because it went kaboom. So you definitely don't want to do that. So once that's done, you just set these up however you want to do them, and then put your last plate on, and you are done. And that is it. And you will have yourself a nice tiered Lazy Susan. Now, before we get to that part, let me show you how to actually create the Lazy Susan part. That part is actually fairly simple. So now that we have put in our top piece, we're going to flip this over like so. And at this point, you can go in and you can put extra glue right there on that seam. And I think actually I'm going to do that. I said I wasn't going to. I said I didn't need to, but I do see a spot or two that could use some extra glue because it didn't quite get where I wanted it to. Half of it was nice and lined up and the other half was a little not so much. So, okay, that other half looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to reinforce it just a little bit, and that'll be that. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to take the plates, or the pans, not the pan that you adhered the styrofoam to. You're going to set that one aside. You're going to take this other one, and you're just going to simply stick it right on top of the, ow, that's warm. Just touched the glue. Don't do that, it hurts. So you're going to put this right on top of this plate here, like so. Okay, and all you're going to do is you're going to glue it. I'm going to see if I can move the camera just a little bit so you guys can see it better. This is about as tall as my camera is going to get, so hopefully you guys will be able to see this okay. So I'm going to take this pan and I'm going to glue it to the top of this tower that we have built. And all you do is you hope that it doesn't fall because it's on a pretty narrow little thing over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this pan and we're going to align some glue all the way across it. And that's not going to take very long, but you do want to be kind of quick because you are putting hot glue on a metal surface. The metal by default will cool off your glue really quickly. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we will go back and reinforce the glue. And you put it right in the center. And you just hold it down, just like this. And we're going to take some more glue and we're going to reinforce that which we just put down. And it's the same thing that we did just a minute ago. You just go underneath the object that you're gluing and push that glue in. And once you do that, it will be quite secure. You have this completely glued. All you're going to do is you're going to take this and flip it over. And we're going to let this dry for a little while. And it will honestly just take a few moments to dry. And if you have any extra strings of glue, you can peel those off. I have an extra one that's actually kind of stuck to the paper. Now you're going to take your second pan. We're going to take this one and we're going to move it aside. Now we're going to take this pan and we're going to put some marbles in there. And because we put this template in there earlier, you're only going to need a small handful of marbles to line the outside. It will take one single layer. Okay, so now that that's done, now you have all of your marbles set on your pan. Now you take your Lazy Susan or your tower that you had created earlier. You simply put it right on top. You put one pan inside the other and you can spin. Okay. Now I will also have some videos of all 3 Lazy Susans that I created for you guys to look at and enjoy. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. And thank you guys for watching. Until next time, bye.